Update: My father demands an apology after 10 years of no contact, by user Educational Tax 189. For people who didn't see the first message, here's a link to it. https://www.reddit.com/r/entitledparents/s/85udv99wj. So, I've read all your comments and I'm so grateful. I didn't know there would be so many internet strangers behind me. Heavy black heart, heavy black heart, heavy black heart. So I met up with my sister and told her everything. About how my father and his now wife beat me, about how I protected her and the mental and physical damage that the behavior of my father and his wife caused me. She mainly cried a lot. There is a lot of pressure from his family to get back in touch with me as I am getting better at my job and am starting to have a prominent role in it. Something that his family would like to show off is that I am successful and well known in my profession. She just didn't know what to do, and that's why she reacted very aggressively and painfully. We talked this out and hugged it out. She also told that my father's wife often goes through her phone. That's how she found my phone number. He helps her unlock the phone. My sister has changed her unlock codes several times, but he keeps copying them from her. We have agreed to buy a second phone where she can keep all her important things and save all her important contacts. So she only has to show the old phone to my father to play games on it. She will keep the new one a secret. She really doesn't want to go to my father anymore, but there is a lot of pressure on her from the family to go. She is the last child of my father who still has contact with him. We have also discussed this with our mother, and we are going to make a plan with our lawyers so that they cannot bother her if she stops going. I have ignored my father and his family as much as possible. I have threatened that if they don't leave me alone I will send the police on them for stalking. So far it's been quiet and I haven't heard from anyone else. I hope it stays calm and that my sister can now also relax. Thank you all for your support and answers. Heavy black heart, heavy black heart. Mill wants her $help back, by usernell_nugget. Hello everyone, posting from a throwaway account, also apologizes for my grammar. If this goes her or a different sub, let me know if needed to be posted somewhere else. We are in a weird moment on our lives with my wife's family, especially with my Mill, and her sister, let's call her Renata, 22F. Some details have been changed though. Also, her dad is not in their lives. This might be a long one and I don't know if I made it make sense, so, sorry for that, but we both are in look for a different perspective of the situation. Some details have been changed. A little bit of background: I, 30M, been with my wife, 28F, for around 5 years and we have a 3yo kid who we love like nothing in this world. When we started dating, she was living with her mom, who always controlled her entire life. She couldn't have a personal email, she have to receive and open all her mail and a lot more BS. She always reminded her how stupid she is and that she needs to get a man with money because she is incompetent and can't make money. My wife tried to go to college but Mill didn't wanted to help her pay for it cause she would fail. Meanwhile her sister got her college paid without ever working and graduated and makes bank. My wife lived with this treatment thinking this is normal and she didn't saw anything wrong with it until she met me. No one in her family ever said anything or advocated for my wife. No one in that family had the balls to do it, just to avoid problems cause they are a family and families stick together. Fucking hate that mentality. So I came to the picture and started to get mad when we couldn't go places because of her mom treated my wife like a middle school girl. She can't go out without doing the dishes, taking the dogs out, cook and cleaning after it, you know, the Cinderella vibes while she watches TV with Renata. She was always condescending to her and the narcissistic selfish attitude just drained my wife's self-esteem. It is always first her, second her dogs, third her boyfriend. She didn't go to my wife's BDs cause she had plans with him and she also didn't went to the wedding, go figure, fourth Renata and lastly my wife, only when she had our kid, who she never wanted to babysit because she is tired and doesn't want to work when she is out of work. She call my kid fucking work. Plus she always put shit on her head like call my boyfriend grandpa, which pissed us off and we cut that right away. They were dating for a couple of months at that time. So I got fed up and talked to my wife that we need to distance ourselves. I just wanted to go and see but is her fam and she didn't wanted that, which I understand. Fast forward to a few days, they had an argument on the phone where Mill was, again, treating her like she doesn't know what she's talking and being disrespectful and condescending to my wife, so she hangs up on her mid-sentence. I am glad cause I've been telling her to no let her treat her like that since respect is earned and not a given just because is her mom. This made my Mill super mad, so she called her and me like 20 times, then her sister did the same and texting saying to apologize to her mom. She is a mama's girl and a copy of her mother. Mill text a lot of BS with the last one being I am done, to what my wife says she always says that. I told her then, we are done too, for real this time she needs some kind of consequences cause she always says stuff to enforce her narrative and feel like she had the control. Because of this discussion literally yesterday Mill text my wife, they haven't spoken since the argument, not even to check on her grandchild, asking her for the money my wife owes her. Well, I just find out, that years ago my wife couldn't pay her cell phone bill and Mill helped her by paying it. When my wife got some money, she tried to pay her back but Mill said no for some reason, but she kept paying the phone, it was on Mill's name so my wife told her to just cancel the line, she didn't. Then like a year later she asked her out of the blue to pay her back all the help. And she is being paying that help since, without me knowing because she didn't want me to get more stress out and screw my anxiety with the situation. I took her out of Mill account a while ago, but she's been paying her mom for like 2 years now and Mill said she owe her something around the $900. I am livid, this is why she kept the line up and didn't wanted the money. How in the hell a mother asked for the money she used for helping her own daughter? How are you so entitled and selfish to write down every penny she used on my wife so she have ammo to go after her when she needs money? So I grabbed the money that her boyfriend gives us for the wedding 1K, which I never used cause I don't like to get money from others and, for some reason, always had a bad feeling about this money. I am going to give it to her and tell her to call the debt paid and to fuck off with her BS, and we will start distancing from her even more, including not seeing her grandchild, no biggie for her I assum, until she fucking grows up. I know we are not obligated to give any money since everything was on her name and linked to her bank account but, I don't want to give her any more reasons to stay around with her BS. Am I overreacting? Those anything I said makes sense? Any suggestions would be appreciated. Again sorry for the long post and bad narrative/grammar. Thanks for reading this long mess. Entitled Mom told me disabled people shouldn't go in public as we don't want to be stared at, by user playful_mountain_fox. First time posting in on mobile, sorry for any mistakes lol. Needed context, I, F23, am a service dog handler to a red tri Aussie. She's a very pretty dog and gains us a lot of attention, so I'm very used to gently educating about why you shouldn't interrupt or distract service dogs. Typically just a hey, please don't distract service dogs or even telling my dog, but more so just saying out loud, ignore it does the trick. I have a heart condition, POTS for those that know it, that causes me to faint, and she alerts prior to fainting so that I don't fall and get injured or at worst, die. This day, while walking around I hear cooing and cawing from somewhere nearby, loud enough to be from a good distance, and clearly an adult voice. Out of curiosity, I look around and see a woman, not much older than myself, with a small child no older than 3 in a shopping cart, pointing out my dog. I smiled at them, seeing the kid and not minding the lady at that point. Usually parents point us out to teach their kids about service dogs or to call my dog pretty. I did need to go down the aisle they were in, but figured it wouldn't be an issue. As soon as I walked closer, the mom started raising her voice while still baby talking her kid, saying things like oh look at the puppy coming closer. And isn't that puppy so cute? Nothing bad, but she was incredibly loud for being right next to me at this point, and her kid wasn't looking. This displeased the mom, so she started to move her cart to force her kid to look at my dog, and I spoke up because she was now blocking where I was trying to go. Please don't block my path, I'm just trying to shop like anyone else. This lady was not happy with being told this. Without skipping a beat, her face had turned a deep red and she was screaming at the top of her lungs at me in the store. I am sorry, I just wanted my kid to admire the pretty puppy and I'll admit, this frazzled me. I wasn't expecting her to turn so angry so quickly, especially since I thought I had been relatively nice in explaining why I didn't want her to move her cart just for her kid to see my dog. I responded along the lines of, you're more than allowed to look, just please don't block us from shopping. And it's not good to teach kids to point and yell at service dogs, it can distract them from their jobs. If she misses an alert, I could get really hurt. And I get yet another mind-blowing response, the reason I'm making this post. This lady screamed back, now with people watching because we were quite close to the front of the store, we have eyes, my daughter and I are allowed to look at your dog. If you disabled people are so bothered by being stared at, don't come out in public. I was so shocked at first, I didn't even know how to respond. I eventually just stared at her for a second, silently, before saying wow. I'm so glad people like you are raising kids. Because remember, this happened in front of her small child. I honestly wanted to avoid any more confrontation, so I turned to rush to check out while the mom was busy screaming something else that I ignored. Luckily, she didn't follow and I shared looks of WTF even was that with other people who had seen her outburst. Luckily my dog was unfazed. I gave her extra treats once we left the store, just to reward her for being such a good girl, smiling face with smiling eyes. Mom wants constant daily texts from me no matter how many boundaries I try to set, by user J37. I, 22F, have been living out of the family house for 5 years. I am an only child. No matter what I say or do, my mom will not let up on her constant need to text me all day every day. In addition to me not having the headspace available for constant small talk, it also clouds important dates or information she might be sending me because I have to mute her constant notifications. I have expressed so many times to my mom and dad that I am my own person with my own life and these constant texts cause me a lot of anxiety. If I don't answer, I get a text like "Please briefly acknowledge my texts" or "Did you see this bold up arrow" or some other passive-aggressive or overly anxious text that requires my response. No matter how much I express my distress and anxiety due to this, my mom will not change her behavior in any way. I don't even want to text my friends every day or much at all, much less my parents. I'm not 16, I don't want to and literally do not have the time to text every second of the day anymore. Cutting them off is not an option. Any advice? Edit. I already utilize Do Not Disturb for her conversations. It doesn't stop her from panicking and blowing me up or just guilt-tripping me if I don't answer for 3 days. Edit 2. My mom and I both have GAD, OCD, and panic disorder. Did I handle Easter right? I feel so guilty, by user Jetter998. To give some context, on Christmas, there was an issue with my uncle teasing and making fun of me and my husband about moving to a different state when we bought our first house. The banter crossed a line into a belligerent argument and it became really uncomfortable. X state has more traffic, it's smelly and ugly. You'll miss Y state right away. My cousin and my mom even chimed in with the pile on about how the state we were moving to is inferior. My parents gave us a ride home and when I complained about it to them, they at first were like, "You know your uncle, he likes to tease," and then they began to sympathize until I called my mom out for joining in on the bullying. Then my dad got angry and began berating us and saying they had nothing to do with it, etc., and that I brought this up on Christmas and ruined Christmas. Needless to say, it was an awkward ride home. Flash forward 3 months, I am the type to kinda live and let live, especially 3 months after something happened, but my husband is not. We knew a few weeks before Easter that we would be having Easter with that side of the family and my husband was not happy and kept saying he was dreading it. My take on it is that family can be difficult and obnoxious but you love them and suck it up for a few holidays a year. Thursday, I ended up talking to my parents because my husband's discomfort was apparent. They empathized and then offered to talk to my uncle for me. I decided to handle it on my own by approaching my aunt, his wife, since she is a bit more reasonable. She coldly said she is sorry I felt this way but since she was not the perpetrator, she does not understand why I am coming to her. So then I contacted my uncle to explain how we felt, who took 48 hours to respond and ended up saying it was just a joke. At this point, we had told my parents that we would be getting there, Saturday, later than they had asked 4 o'clock instead of 2:00 because my husband was so upset. We also told them we would not be coming for Easter because of the hostile environment. The original plan was we were celebrating a mini Easter with my brother on Saturday, sleeping over and having Easter breakfast and then dinner with the dreaded uncle and his family. After my brother left Saturday evening, I told my parents we were leaving too. My mom started to cry because she thought we were staying to have breakfast. I sent my husband out to go get the car and calmly explained that it has been a difficult time emotionally and my father got angry and said it has been a difficult time for them because my mom had had surgery 2 weeks ago and that I am being selfish. I became uncomfortable and then he told me, in kinda a threatening voice, I had crossed a line with refusing to spend time with them on a major holiday. I ended up going out to the car and talking to my husband for a few hours to decide what to do. My husband is fuming and saying my father is acting out of line and causing me duress. We ended up having a huge argument because I told my husband about all the guilt I have and that I don't want to speak up or cause drama on a major holiday, just like I did on Christmas. He said they were the ones causing issues, not me, for standing up for us. We decided to create a united front and stay over for Easter breakfast, but my husband very clearly did not want to be there. My father and husband were not talking to each other. For further context, there is a long history of my husband butting heads with my family. We had a lot of issues during wedding planning and COVID wedding rescheduling from 2019 to 2022. My parents had said multiple things that made my husband and I feel ostracized and like we are causing problems. One example, in 2019, my mom did not understand why my husband had 2 Passover Seders, he is Jewish, while they only celebrate Easter once. She jokingly said, "What are you, turning into Mrs. Leibovitz," which is not my husband's last name, but I guess was the most stereotypical Jewish name she could think of. This caused a huge blow-up fight and a rift between me and my parents. They also kept during the wedding planning saying Jeter is the bride, so she gets final say with planning, and kept implying I was more important than my then fiancé. Another more recent issue, Christmas 2022, my brother and sister-in-law were sick with a stomach bug. A few days later, my mom scheduled make-up Christmas with them, but my husband thought they might still be contagious, so we declined the invitation. My mom called me upset and said I ruined Christmas. On my parents' side, they have never been huge fans of my husband's because he has a temper and has a tendency of letting things get to him and yelling when we have an argument. My parents have always felt that his temper is a problem, they have been there when he made me cry during particularly bad arguments, and that he tends to stir the shit. My mom tries really hard to keep the peace, i.e. keep the status quo, while my dad does not hide that he feels my husband is disrespectful, and has even said so to his face. I have felt caught in the middle for 5+ years, and even after years of therapy, couples therapy, journaling, and trying to work on myself, my instinct is to not cause drama with my family. I felt so guilty for leaving Easter after breakfast with less than 24 hours notice of our plans, and my husband feels I don't have his back.